Hey, this is AJ with Blackhawk Bushcraft, and I wanted to do a quick video in response to a comment that I received on one of my videos. And not that I really owe anybody an explanation, but I will just say this. This is my channel, and I will do with my channel what I want. End of story! Exclamation point. If you don't like my channel, then move on. It's as simple as that. I'm not here to gain your approval of what I choose to do or not do. So the comment was that my channel, for being a bushcraft channel, is not bushcrafty enough, that I come across as just a gear junkie. And the most comical one of all is that my hands aren't rough enough and tattooed enough to give any credibility to anything that I say. So I guess if you have rough looking hands that are all covered in tattoos, somehow that endows you with like more knowledge and experience in things related to bushcraft and survival. I will be the first to admit with my channel, if you watch my videos, you'll notice that I'm not out doing a whole lot of stuff all the time with camera equipment in the outdoors. I'm not sleeping in a jockstrap in 20 below with no adequate clothing by a little teepee fire in a makeshift shelter that I chopped down half the forest to build. If that's what you're looking for in this channel, you've come to the wrong place. I don't spend my time doing that. The stuff that I do on my channel is content related to stuff that I want to talk about. I'm not chasing likes. Obviously, I mean, I've been a YouTube channel since 2012 and I barely hit 1,000 subscribers. That tells you how frequently I'm really pursuing channel growth. What does that tell you about me and my life? That this channel is more of a hobby than it is a profession. And just because I talk about things and I'm not always in the forest doing stuff all of the time, also doesn't mean that there's no credibility to the stuff that I talk about. It's about as silly as saying that if I work in finance, in order to teach somebody about finance, I have to be dressed in a suit and a tie like a stiff, sitting in a high-rise building talking about something finance related. Ridiculous. The stuff that I usually do, for those of you that are aware of my content, I will admit that I am somewhat of a gear junkie. I like gear, and I have more gear than what I actually use. That was one of the reasons why in a video that I posted fairly recently was about selling off knives that I've collected that I don't use. I just don't use them. So I have made it a point to try to do better in handling what I consider to be a knife addiction, and stick with knives that primarily will get use. That said, I like talking about knives. I like talking about gear. I like sharing little tidbits of things that I find useful, that other people might find useful. And I will say this too, where this channel is a hobby, when I'm out in the outdoors, I don't take my camera with me frequently. I might have my phone, I might be able to shoot something here and there like I've done on occasion, maybe a short, because I decided to take a few minutes to carve a feather stick, you know, because I enjoy doing that, or maybe lighting a fire, or I think the two videos that I had where I was in the outdoors actually doing things that would be more akin to a bushcraft channel is when I was in the Uintas. It was a chore. And quite frankly, it takes a lot of work to film, to do those types of things, specifically coming back and having to edit everything. And it really, if this were a career choice for me, I'd probably feel as burned out doing a YouTube channel as I would working full time in the profession that I have, that provides the ability for me to make a living and provide for the needs of my family. I get burned out with work. I like going on vacation. I like to be able to say I'm leaving work on a shelf and I'm going to go out and do something that I enjoy doing with my family, and I don't want to think about work. That's kind of how I approach this YouTube channel. Sometimes I'll get home like I did tonight, read a silly, idiotic comment that somebody posts on a video and say, hey, I'm going to take the next 30 minutes or so talking about something and responding to a comment or something else, pulling out a knife, whatever it may be. That's completely up to me. This is my channel. And again, if you don't like this and you're looking for something else related to a bushcraft channel, then find what works for you, man. Subscribe to them and troll them all you want. I really don't care. I do this for me as an outlet, hoping that maybe some people will find some value in what I have to offer. But if you find that there's no value and that my hands aren't rough enough, or I don't have a big enough beard, or whatever those stupid reasons you think exist for giving credibility to somebody's ability to talk about something, that's entirely up to you. I'm not here to change your mind. You know, I might do some more videos in the outdoors, do some things like that if I have time and if I want to do that without it feeling like it's got to be a chore and something that I have to do. Okay? When I started this channel 12 years, well, I guess it's been, 13 years now. So back in 2012, the thought that I had at the time was going more all gung-ho to put out a channel, to do gear reviews, to do outdoor stuff and all that. And it just never panned out that way because life gets busy, man. If it's not a source of income and it's more of a hobby, sometimes hobbies, as fun as they are, have to take a back seat to reality, and being able to actually do something that generates sufficient income to be able to provide for the things that I feel I need to provide for. That's just how it is. So what ended up being like Black Hawk Bushcraft, and you know, whether it was Black Hawk Bushcraft or Black Hawk Survival or Survival Bushcraft Outdoors, or, you know, the whole plethora of silly names that people come up with to try to sell their channel, you know, whatever. That really was kind of the driving factor back then, because I was like, you know, maybe I will put some time into this and see kind of what comes of it. And I think I posted a few videos and actually went almost like a period of 2 years where I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it if I want to. For those of you that know me, you know that I do have a former life that was military oriented, spent some time in the service. And some of that on occasion will creep into some of the stuff that I do, but I really, and I'm not saying this as a way of like bragging or throwing out some stupid military resume, which also fills the comment sections of a bazillion different YouTube videos, as well as YouTube content creators, specifically those that feel like they've got to open up a survival school and then sell a bunch of gear and then use their military credentials for a way of selling it to everybody. Okay, that's not me. The reason why I'm saying anything related to my military service is just to give context to some of the content that I would put out may kind of not be as traditionally bushcrafty with some of the gear items or choices or my thought process that goes into things. You know, for example, I really enjoy using flint and steel. I think it's a fun way and an enjoyable and, quite frankly, relaxing way to start a fire. I've done that in a video where I actually carve some feather sticks. I think carving feather sticks is great. Now, in my opinion, those are things that I didn't need to do. I chose to do them. And that's going to be another video for another time. It's kind of like bushcraft survival needs versus choices versus wants, because quite frankly, a lot of what I've seen in the whole bushcraft and survival community, specifically a lot of stuff that I don't agree with that's pushed by content creators, mostly to sell equipment or to gain sponsorships. They sell it as a need, like this is an absolute, you must do this, or you need this, or you will die. It's just not the case. And again, that'll be a video for another day. I've got some thoughts and some things that I've wanted to address for quite some time related to that topic. But if I choose to do something in my video, most of the time it's because I'm choosing to do that, not because I need to do that. Like, I don't need to use flint and steel I don't need to use a ferro rod. I can choose to do that, but most of the time, if I just want to get a quick fire going, I'm going to use a lighter 99% of the time. And I'm not saying that if people want to use other methods of starting a fire like flint and steel or a ferro rod or friction fire or a magnifying glass or whatever it is you want to do, it's completely up to you. I'm not here to say that my way is better than your way, and quite frankly, I'm still learning and growing. I don't care how much experience somebody has. The thing that bothers me is when somebody feels that based on some credentials that they have or some amount of experience that they have, that they're then all of a sudden the walking, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-telling encyclopedia of experience, and that there's still nothing left to learn. I mean, even with me, I'm always learning something. I'm always trying to absorb information. The trick then is realizing what's fact versus what's crap. And quite frankly, a lot of the stuff that's pushed out there in YouTube land by content creators specifically related to bushcraft and survival is bad information. I don't agree with it. Now, some of those content creators on occasion will put a little snippet in there that it's like, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. But by and large, that's not the motivation for pushing the stuff that they're pushing. It's usually jumping on the bandwagon or marketing and selling gear in order for them to make their living. And I can't really fault them for that, although I do not agree with the approach that some of them take just for the sake of selling something, to try to sell the item as an absolute need when that is not the case. But again, that's also another topic for another day. So anyways, 15-minute video to tell you about my channel, to tell you a bit about me, my motivation for doing this. I really don't care if you like it or not. Now, I would hope that I would provide some value. If the stuff that I offer and talk about and the content that I create is something that appeals to you. I'm not out here to try to appeal to the whole world, and I'm not going to change who I am just for the sake of trying to build a channel and push out things that don't align with my thought process for the sake of channel growth. That's just not me. So yeah, my channel probably will remain anemic for quite some time, if it'll even grow at all, because that's kind of the approach that I take. You're never going to see me bashing my knives through wood and doing ridiculous tip tests and trying to dismantle things outside of the realistic application of tools. Again, I want to be very careful here because I'm not also going to take the approach to criticize other people for the way that they want to run their channels. I'm just telling you what works for me and what I won't be doing on my channel. If you're wanting channels that destroy an entire forest to build a flippin' shelter, that's not going to be me. If you're wanting a channel that is pounding an overbuilt, crazy knife through, big giant pieces of wood and try to sell it, that you need to do this, you're not going to find that on my channel. If you are wanting somebody who is risking life and limb on camera, but then using creative editing techniques to present something as a form of reality when it's not, you're not going to find that on my channel. If you're wanting somebody that is going to go out completely unprepared because of this premise that everybody has to pretend that they are living in the most unrealistic of circumstances and trying to sell that to everybody that is survival and bushcraft reality, that's not what you're going to find on my channel either. If you're wanting somebody that is going to talk about some reasons why I think some gear items are cool and share some knowledge about thinking of things a little bit differently that might be considered to many YouTube blasphemy or challenging the narrative, yeah, you'll probably get some of that content. Because I think that there's a lot of value in talking about those things. Sometimes I think there's value in focusing on tools, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, there's also a lot, in fact, more value focusing on good knowledge and gaining good skills and then understanding how tools fit into that equation to make things more simple, maybe a little bit more efficient. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, yeah, you'll get that on my channel too. So again, I don't know what more to say than this is my channel. So it's going to be done my way. And if you don't like it, I'm not even going to apologize for that. Troll on and go find some other channel that appeals to you, and have a great day.